Hello, you guys. I am so excited to be here today and share all the ways that we use in our home to support the immune system naturally. And if you're just joining in, what I'm going to be doing is just sharing a little bit about the different ways that we support our immune system in our home, just using natural methods, and then also talk about essential oils, which is going to be the star of our class today. So let me start by just sharing what prompted this whole topic. So if you're watching live, like, say hello, I'm Padma. So this topic came up, and I belong to a few mommy groups. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and in all my mommy groups, all I could hear was how sick people were, how sick the kids were, how the kids hadn't been to daycare in a while, how the parents had been up all night. I mean, it was just, that's all I kept hearing. And our home has been mostly spared, and I was thinking about, like, what is different, and all the things that we do naturally. I really felt this calling to start sharing about it. So that's what prompted this whole topic to come up. For me, hi Sylvie. So for me, for me, like, I was thinking about, like, how wonderful it would be if there was a winter where you didn't have to think about being sick, or even if it came up, like, it would just pass by very quickly. Or if your kid had a sniffle, you're not like, oh my goodness, like, is this going to mean like 5 days of sleepless nights? Like, what if that kind of, you could imagine a scenario where none of those things were happening, right? Like, when you could just be like, okay, my kid is sick, we'll get over, I have all these tools, I'm going to use them, and they're up and about. So that's that was what that's one of the things that I would love to share about what we do. So I have my notes here just so that I can keep myself on track. There's so much I wanted to talk about today. So we're going to talk about all the simple ways that we can support in the cold and flu season. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I got into natural wellness and remedies. I grew up in India. And in India, like, the norm is to use natural methods to, like, support your well-being. So, like, I grew up with, like, my grandmother giving all these natural remedies, like, in case you had a cold or if you had a headache. Like, there was all these things that you could do with food, with herbs, with sleep, with just resting, and that's how I grew up. So it's kind of like a natural thing for me in general. And when I moved here in my early 20s, I'm 42 right now, so I almost spent like almost 20 years of my life here in the US. And when I moved here, it was like a culture shock when I saw all these advertisements for, like, oh, you have a headache, pop this pill, or if you have a muscle ache, like, pop this pill. And sometimes the side effects of all those things was, like, pretty scary. I would listen to the side effects in advertisements and I'd be like, oh my God, the side effects are much more severe than what you're trying to address. And that was kind of, like, interesting, and it made me start thinking more about it. But the universe has funny ways of, like, doing things. And what happened was, in my early 20s, I got very sick, very, very, very sick with an autoimmune disorder. At the same time, my husband got diagnosed with lymphoma. And it was a very difficult time in our life. We didn't know what was happening and how, he recovered. He went into remission after using chemotherapy and, like, radiation. So he was good, but there was still that uncertainty about what would happen. And for me, my autoimmune disorder, took so long to diagnose. I was bedridden for many years, and it was an autoimmune of the gut, and I was on so many medications, and, like, nothing was working. It was a nightmare at that time. But the silver lining was, when, like with any difficulties in your life, when there's something good that comes out of it. And for us, it was like this path to natural wellness. So we started looking at what food we were eating, what kind of household products we were using. So we kind of went all out into the natural wellness route, because that was what was conducive for our entire well-being. And the amazing thing from that piece was, like, it led to so many other avenues for me, like, for finding other natural solutions for day-to-day stuff. And this was long before essential oils came into my life. But what it did was it taught me to read labels. So when essential oils came into my life, it was like, oh, it's like this inner knowing that I found a tool that could help support our family's well-being. And I was pregnant at that time, so I was looking for more things to support our family in natural ways. And I could kind of, this instant recognition came about, like, okay, essential oils are one of our tools that we're going to be using for our family. And it was it started this whole journey. I used to be a full-time psychotherapist for almost 20 years. Yeah, I know. And now I do that very part-time, and I am now, like, I've devoted most of my time to teaching about health and wellness and getting people started with essential oils, because I really truly think that essential oils are an amazing tool to have in your household. And it's our first line of defense. So what I want to start by sharing is some of the tips that we I want to share some of the tips that we use in general for overall health and wellness. And then I'll talk about essential oils. So the first, I'm going to give you 7 things that we do generally in our home. And I'm going to start with elderberry syrup. So I am sure you've heard of elderberry syrup, and if you have not, just Google it. You'll find so much amazing information about the goodness that comes with elderberry. And you can either make your own, very simple to make. I actually did a Facebook Live some time ago, and I can always post that in this group. But it is amazing. And if you don't want to spend the time doing it, there's a brand called Gaia that I like. It's really great. Or you can find go to a health food store and you can get set up with elderberry. So the way we use elderberry is almost like prevention, but also when someone's sick in our house, the dosage gets increased, and it really works wonders. And the second one is turmeric. Turmeric has so many amazing anti-inflammatory properties. It's so good for the overall health and wellness, and also the immune system. So turmeric, you know, I'm again Indian, right? So we use a lot of turmeric in our cooking. So it's like part of our day-to-day stuff. But also one other thing that you can do is make a paste with turmeric. So just dry roast a little bit of turmeric powder, organic turmeric powder, and mix it with honey and make a paste. And then use that to add to any kind of milk that you like. It can be vegan milk, it can be cow's milk or goat's milk, whatever you want, and drink it in the night before you go to bed. What it does 2 things. I know, right? It does 2 things. One is it helps the body. It's like a natural defense, and also it helps you to sleep better. You add a little bit of black pepper to it too. So something about this combination, the sweetness, the turmeric, and the heat from the black pepper, it activates something inside, and it helps you sleep better. So this is something that we used to do almost every day at night when I was growing up, even if you're not sick. Like, this was just something that we did. Okay, so the third thing that we do on a very regular basis is juicing. So every morning it's my husband's job to juice, and he'll make juice. If you have a good blender, we have like a blend tech, so you can use Vitamix or whatever blender you have. So he just throws a bunch of fruits in it and like some spinach. Like, it's just like natural, any kind of fruits, whatever you have at hand. And one of the reasons the juicing is so key is because it's like gives your body an extra boost of vitamin C and like healthy minerals and vitamins, like all kinds of things. It kind of gives you this extra boost. So the juicing is like one of the things we do on a pretty consistent basis every day. The fourth one is decreasing stress. Of course, I have to bring my therapist hat. So you all, know the connection between the body and the mind. And you might have seen that when you're more stressed, the immune system tends to be on the lower side. And so decreasing stress is so key. So meditation, exercise, yoga, prayers, all those things work so wonderfully well with supporting the immune system. And one of the things, I'm going to digress just a tiny bit. So one of the things we do in our home is also set intentions. So say one of us is sick, right? And I'm using all these multiple tools to support our well-being. I'll set an intention for healing for that person, whether it's my kid or my husband, like whatever. Like we'll set an intention for whatever we are using to help heal. And the reason intention works really well, or is a key aspect of healing, is because healing comes from the source. These are just tools we're using, and healing ultimately comes from the source. That's why you hear all these, sometimes you hear all these stories of like he was bedridden, couldn't walk, and then suddenly he's like up and walking. Where does the healing come from? The healing comes from the source. So to me, like setting an intention for whatever you're doing always seems to have an extra, like, you know, it gives an extra push to whatever you're trying to address. So even if I'm using essential oils, you know, if I'm using it for sleep, for example, I'll set an intention for like a good night's rest. Or say I use it for meditation, I'll say like a prayer for how the essential oil can help support my meditation practice. So it works. It's something I would invite you to do no matter what you're doing, even when you're cooking. So in the Ayurvedic tradition, when you are, you know, in the Indian way of cooking, they always say that the energy that the person who's cooking kind of goes into the food. So that's why they ask you to think about happy thoughts when you're doing whatever you're doing. So the intention setting, even when you're cooking, plays a big role. So that's another thing I would invite you to do. So the fifth one is finding a good holistic practitioner. I'm a true believer of like having a good kind of your little team of people to support your mind and your body. And acupuncture, chiropractor, that's great, Sylvie. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, finding like a good holistic practitioner, like chiropractors, acupuncture, like all those people are going to help support your body and your mind, and doing it on a regular basis if you can. And if you can't, like making sure that you have access to them when you are unwell. So that is so key in helping support your entire well-being. Like I take my kids to the chiropractor at least once a month, if not more, in case something comes up. To me, having their systems aligned is so helpful, is so key in supporting the well-being. And number 6, this is one of my favorite topics, is having a chemical-free environment. Because of my husband's cancer history, like we got very particular about what came into our home, whether it was household products like cleaning supplies, whether it was personal care products like soaps and shampoos. Like I became a stickler for reading labels and making sure that it was clean products. And the reason there's a connection between your chemical-free environment and living a healthy lifestyle, or like having overall health and wellness, is because, and in the immunity as well, is because you don't want to overwhelm your body, your organs with chemicals. And because if your body is busy trying to get rid of those toxins, your body's not going to be able to fight like regular colds and viruses and all that you come in contact with. So Sylvie, you're asking whether I make my own shampoo. You know, I used to, but most of my products right now are from Young Living, which is where I get my essential oils from. They make amazing clean products, but you can make your own. It's actually pretty simple to make. I started making my own stuff for using the essential oils, and then, you know, I have 2 kids now, and so I just couldn't do it. But it's pretty simple to make. You can use essential oils. You can use like a base of Castile soap, and you can do it. It's pretty simple. If you want recipes, I'm happy to share them with you. And so I really suggest to look at the labels, look at what's in your home, because those things are going to make a big difference in supporting your entire well-being, especially cleaning products, right? Like they're so full of toxic chemicals. It's scary to me. My husband was saying there was a recent New York Times article about how the chemical products are causing a lot of pollution, and that's just one piece of it. You don't want your body to be taxed by all these chemicals. So that, I think, is one of my pet peeve topics because of our history. And so I would really suggest that start looking at all your stuff in your home. And now we're off to essential oils, my favorite topic. And I love the fact that essential oils are getting mainstream right now, which I love. And there's in my home, like my home is like infused with essential oils, starting with like the diffuser. It's in my cleaning products, it's in my shampoos and soaps and toothpaste, like personal care products. Pretty much everywhere in my home is right now infused with essential oils. Even my supplements have essential oils in them. So it's so wonderful for our family, and I can't like wait to share all the things that we can do with essential oils with you guys. So let's start. I'm going to start by talking about some basics about essential oils so that you have a sense of how to use them, and then we can talk about 4 or 5 oils that are very helpful to support the immune system. I'm just going to check the time to make sure we don't go too much over. Okay, so there are 3 main ways to use essential oils. Number 1 is smelling them or inhaling them. You know, can you think about like, you know, walking into someone's kitchen and there's like chocolate chip cookies baking in the oven, and you're like, oh my goodness, it reminds you of your grandma's kitchen, for example. And that is the power of smelling something, right? The smell has so much power, and it because of the connection with the olfactory system, and it can change the mind's body, like mind chemistry, within seconds. This is why I love taking essential oils to my therapy clients as well, because it really helps shift the mood so quickly. So inhaling or like smelling the essential oils is like one of the key ways to use it. You can also just like, you know, I'm going to use an oil called Stress Away, so you can just take it like this in the palm of your hand, rub it, and then just smell it. Even just smelling it can change how you feel. It can change how your body, like it can change, help support your organs very quickly, pretty much instantaneously. The second way to use it is topical, like just, you know, how I did. You can put it on your neck, on your shoulders, anywhere on your body. The best place to put oils, especially on children, is on the bottom of the feet, right? On the soles of the feet. You can just put oils there. If you've heard of like reflexology, for example, like that is what happens. So when you put oils on the bottom of the feet, your body absorbs it and goes and helps whatever organ you're trying to address. So like, you know, if someone has a cold, like if you put it right where the lungs are, in the bottom of the feet, it helps to support the lungs. It's amazing how these things work. So topical application is another way to use essential oils. And so just in terms of safety of using essential oils, making sure that when you're using it on children, diluting it, a good therapeutic grade essential oil is very potent, so a drop goes a really long way. So for young children, their bodies are so sensitive, so making sure you dilute it, that's very key. And say you're, you know, trying to put it on your arm's hurting, so you can put, you know, you can dilute it with like a carrier oil and put it all over your arm, so you can kind of stretch the essential oil. The third way to use essential oils is you can ingest it. Like, so I have my bottle of water here, and I will add like a drop of lemon essential oil to it. So this is you can ingest them, and I would only recommend them with Young Living essential oils because they are so pure and they're therapeutic grade. There's no additives, no chemicals, nothing else in it. So like if you have peppermint, so it's nothing but peppermint plant. So if you can eat a peppermint leaf, you can definitely take a drop of peppermint in your tea or something. So it's safe to ingest them. So one of the common questions I often hear is it safe? Is it safe, especially when you use with children? Yes, it is absolutely safe. You have to use some caution, some, you know, commonsensical stuff, and you know, you don't want to use too much of the oil because they're so potent, and definitely dilute and all those basic things, and not put it into your eyes or ears. There's some safety protocol that it'd be helpful to follow, but overall it is safe, especially if it's a good quality one. Absolutely safe. And this is why I only recommend Young Living, because of their farming practices and how, you know, the quality really matters. They from the time the seed is sourced to the time it's bottled, the oils are bottled, so much care is taken, so much precision of like harvesting and making sure that there's no chemicals and all that. So all those things are very key in making sure that the quality of the oil is pure. Chris, you're asking whether, you know, honestly, I like Young Living. I've tried many different oils. I've been using oils for almost 5 years at this point. I've tried other companies and other, you know, from health food stores and all that, but I prefer Young Living because it works really well. I can't say much about doTERRA because I've used it once or twice, but you know, it didn't resonate for me. And from what I've heard from other people, especially people who've used both of them, they feel like the quality of Young Living feels a little bit better, or like the energetics of the Young Living oils are better. But again, like, you know, I could be completely biased. So this is just my experience, and I just am completely in love with Young Living. So not only with the oils, they make so many products which have been great for our family. So that's the best I can say about Young Living over doTERRA. I have other information, but you know, this is good. Oh, no worries. No worries at all. So that, you know, the other thing about quality, you know, it's like if you get grass-fed beef versus eating like a hamburger from a fast food restaurant, right? Like it's the same, it's a difference in quality, and that's one of the reasons I love Young Living. I've been using oils. I actually anointed both my babies the moment they were born. So if I could take that kind of risk with using something, it had better be good, right? So this is one of the main reasons I can totally recommend it, because we use it every single day. I mean, my kids, like, I often joke, like, we don't have blood in our veins anymore. We only have essential oils. It's like that much infused with essential oils, and it works great. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the oils that support the immune system, specifically that support the immune system. And what we're going to be doing, Young Living is amazing. They've come up with like this thing called a starter kit, which has like 11 oils in them. It comes with a diffuser. It comes with other stuff in it. And I'm going to just pick some of the oils from this, because this is like the best way to get started. And this whole thing is like $160. It comes with a diffuser. For me, without the diffuser, like the oils are like almost not usable, because we use the diffuser pretty much all the time. Okay, so we're going to start with one of my favorite oils for immune system. It's called Thieves, like a thief, Thieves. And Thieves, I know it's a funny name for an essential oil, but it is amazing. So think Christmas, think like cinnamon, think rosemary, think clove. So that is the smell of Thieves. So it is like this Christmassy, like I love the smell of Thieves. It is so, it's like, think chai spice. I wish you were all here, you could just smell it. Like that's one of the things I'm like, why hasn't technology, like I could just hand it over and you can pick it up, right? I'm sure that day will come at some point where I can zap it over to you. Yeah, you like Thieves. Yes, fantastic. Yes, Thieves is, because of the properties of Thieves, it's amazing for cleaning. It has lemon. It's really fantastic. So Thieves, the name comes from 15th century France, where the plague was happening, and there were all these plague victims who were being robbed by a few robbers. And when they finally got caught, nothing happened to them. And when they got caught, they were found to be perfumers who would anoint themselves with herbs and oils and go rob the plague victims. So Thieves comes from the recipe is what's the word? Oh my goodness. The recipe comes from, I'm looking for a specific word. Oh goodness, whatever, you get the message. So we use Thieves every single day. I'm not kidding. Every single day, multiple times a day, probably like twice if no one's sick, like it's the morning and the evening before the kids go out of the house. Everybody goes out of the house. We use Thieves. We put it on the bottom of the feet. I actually make a roll-on with some of these oils in it, like the immune booster oils in it. So I just put it on the kids' feet. My husband and I will either take a drop directly on our tongue. It's a little spicy. So you can even put it in a teaspoon of honey. So if you have an achy throat or something like that, Thieves works amazingly well with that. Just a teaspoon of honey and a couple of drops of Thieves, very soothing for the throat, or for if you have like if your respiratory system needs support, this is fantastic for that. And like Chris was saying, Young Living makes a whole line of Thieves products, cleaning products, from household cleaners to like laundry detergent and like dishwashing detergent, like all of those things. If you see the name Thieves somewhere, you know it's good. It's good quality. So because it's infused with essential oils, so that's all it has. So safe. The Thieves household cleaners replaced every single cleaning supply in our home. I'm not kidding. Every single, like if you open my kitchen, under the kitchen cabinet is not even locked, because I know nothing can happen to the kids even if they get into it. It's so safe, and it lasts for a really, really long time. So I love Thieves. So this is Thieves, and we're going to talk about the next one is another of my favorite. It's lavender. So everyone knows about lavender for like calming, right? People think like lavender, think calming, but lavender is so versatile. It's called the Swiss Army knife of essential oils, and it is so fantastic for so many things, obviously for the immune system. But one of the ways I love using lavender is putting it right here on the lymph nodes, especially when my daughter had just woke up with the sniffles today, like putting it on the lymph nodes right here. It helps to drain the lymph. So it's so good. Like it doesn't help, it helps the sniffles not turn into something bigger, like a ear infection or something like that. So it's fantastic for that. I also love diffusing lavender at night, so sleeping. It's what I take with me when I take the kids to the park. It's always in my kitchen drawer, so any kind of kitchen mishaps, immediately I put lavender. So many uses for it. So as you can see, right, like there's so many different uses for each of these oils. The nature has made it like that. So the plant can be used in so many different ways, and we're just discovering all these different uses for it. So that's lavender. And we're going to talk about lemon. Everybody knows about lemon. So lemon is made from the rind of lemon, so it's not the pulp. And again, lemon is so versatile. It has so much cleansing properties. So I have it in the diffuser right now, and it just helps to clean the air, clean the atmosphere. And I love diffusing it, especially when the sniffles are there, because one of the properties is to help kind of break down the mucus in your chest, so it helps to breathe better. It's so good for so many things. All the cleaning supplies often have lemon in them because of how well it cleans. It's a great, if you have kids, then you know stains really well. My clothes always have like something stuck on them, and all you do is like put a few drops of lemon, like scrub it, kind of like rub it like that, and put in the washer. Done. There you go. Or it helps to remove stickies. Stickers, my 4-year-old is really into stickers. Stickers everywhere, and then sometimes you can't get them out, and this gets it out. Okay, so many other uses for lemon other than the immune boosting. The last one I'm going to talk about is called RC. I just did a video, the Facebook Live today, on like a all natural vapor rub, and a few things I talked about there was RC. RC stands for respiratory comfort. So think eucalyptus, like smelling eucalyptus, and that's what this is. It has 3 different types of eucalyptus. It helps to really open up your lungs. And that is so amazing with this. So I diffuse RC a lot. We put it on the chest, make the vapor rub, the all natural vapor rub. I'll put a link to it, or if you haven't seen it, I think I posted it in the main page. But this is really good for opening up the lungs. So another use, I'm going to digress slightly. So every organ, you know, often has some emotions attached to it. Like the lungs often carry grief. So if you have unprocessed grief, then it often sits in the lungs. And so using things that can support that particular organ can also help release those emotional stuff. So when I put RC and there's some stuck emotions around grief, you can set an intention for releasing grief, and it can help you process that better. Either it can bring it to the surface, whatever you're dealing with, or it can help release it if you're ready to release it. So there's so many things, emotional stuff that you can use with essential oils as well. You know what? I've completely forgot to talk about peppermint. So peppermint is amazing for opening up your nasal passages. I love peppermint. Last winter, my husband got a really bad congestion, like his sinuses were blocked, he couldn't breathe. So he did something like, again, this is something we grew up with in India, like we would just boil a pot of water and then my mom would like throw eucalyptus leaves in it and stuff like that. So he actually put peppermint, like a drop of peppermint in it, and then smelled those fumes coming from it. Oh my goodness, it just completely opens up your nasal passages. So peppermint is also good for digestive system. And another use for peppermint is like it helps with cooling. So in the summer months, it's great to make a spray with peppermint. I often also use it for like making my own bug repellent with peppermint. So it also helps with that. There's so many uses for peppermint. Oh, if you're a mom at around 3 o'clock, you probably hit that afternoon slump and you want to just crawl into bed and not wake up for the rest of the afternoon. Peppermint wakes you up. Just smelling peppermint like really opens up the brain and focus and concentration. I love adding like a drop of peppermint to my water during the 3 o'clock range. It's really great for that. So that's about it for the essential oils. Let me just check. You know what? Let me talk about one more, one more, since we are all in Emily's group. I can't help but talk about something to lift the spiritual upliftment. Frankincense. I'm sure you've heard of frankincense from like the biblical times, baby Jesus. Frankincense was one of the oils, one of the gifts that baby Jesus was given, and it is amazing for spiritual upliftment. So I love putting frankincense on my brainstem right before I meditate. So I just take like a drop and then I do this and I put it right on the brainstem and before meditation, and it is so amazing. Like it is just, it has this deep connection with the divine. You can use it during meditation. But other amazing things for frankincense and lavender is skincare. I added both. You can add it both to your favorite skincare lotion. It's really good for that. It's also good for moods. I'll take it to my with my therapy clients often because it helps to shift the moods pretty instantaneously. There's something about how uplifting it is. So that's and it's also good for the immune system. It has so many different uses. All these oils have like so many different uses. You can do so many things with this. So that is about it. If you have any questions, like, write them down, or if or even comment about it later if you have other questions. And if you are interested in getting started, I'm happy to post a link about how to get started. Oh, of course. So one of the advantages of using Young Living is also the support system that comes with it. So say you decide to get the starter kit and get started with Young Living. I kind of joke, like I come with the kit, so I'm kind of like your support system for getting you started with the oils, connecting you with a larger, like a Facebook. I have a Facebook group where we have a lot of discussions about different ways of using oils and supporting each other. It's like this community of health and wellness minded people, and it's really great. It's great to get that kind of support. And okay, I'll definitely post a link for how to get started. It is a network marketing company, and initially, honestly, I was very turned off by that because I didn't know what that meant. I've been using it for almost 5 years, but only in the last 2 years I started doing this because I just could not help but share. It just impossible to not share. But I bring up the network marketing because I want to be transparent, and sometimes in network marketing it gets a really bad rep about being pushy and like sales, like buy, or like now you have to start selling, and none of that with me. I have chosen to do things very differently. It is all about wellness and education, and if this is of interest to someone to also have a side business, or like not even a side business, they just want to share with their friends, like, okay, I'm there to support, but absolutely zero pressure from my side. It's all, my job is to give the information, and I really trust that people know what they want to do with it, and they will do what feels best for them. So I kind of am pretty transparent about that, just to take the what is the thing that they say, like elephant in the room. So to bring it out in the open. So that's about it. And this whole thing, if you're ready to get started, it's a kit that comes. It has 11 oils, it has other stuff, it has other goodies in it. It looks like this. This is the box that it comes in. It comes with there's like stuff underneath. So anyways, it comes with the diffuser, all of that. It's for $160, and I'll post all the information in the comments. So that's it. If you have other questions, I'm so happy to help. I'm so happy to answer. Oh, of course, I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I keep forgetting. So when you get started, I often gift this book. It's called the Essential Oils Pocket Reference Guide. I love this book. It has so much great information, because one of my jobs, one of the things I love doing is empowering people to get to know how to use the oil so they can feel empowered about taking charge of their life and helping support their babies and their families and friends, like whatever. So this is fantastic. It comes in an app form or this. So I often gift this when people get started, just so that, you know, they have something to help use the oils also. So that's it. I'm finally done. It was so nice. Thank you so much for joining, Chris and Sylvie, and anybody else who watches it later on. I'm very, very grateful for this group, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.